front panel of my skirt. So what I'm going to do now is, from you see the way it is, I've gone ahead and traced lining for this one here. There's a lining on it on the bigger side, and then this is the other half of the side. So there are two ways of closing this part up. You can just go ahead, make your stitch all the way it is with this lining. Now you're going to stitch it and stop where you marked your slit, right? You double stitch it and then just fold this side this way and make a stitch on it. Fold the other side the opposite direction and make a stitch on it. That's one way to do it. But my way of doing it, like the way I'm going to do it right now, is I'm just going to take this here, because I want it to be neat. The other way I showed you, when the wind blows, it might show how the inside is. So I figured it might not look nice. So another way of doing it is just take your fabric this way, the front panel of the skirt, take it this way, and then join it together and stop where you marked this part where you marked where the slit will stop. So you're going to make a stitch all the way down to that point, and then you're also going to take your lining, do the same thing for it, right? The same way we join the top is how we're going to do it. Close up your lining also and stop at where the mark is. So guys, I've gone ahead and closed the top here. At this point, you can just go ahead, iron it. And then I've also gone ahead and sewed my lining, and then this is it here. You see this seam here is facing me, this table, so the right side is facing each other. So what I'm going to do now is, on this part that I have the slit, I'm just going to sew it up to this part and then come back down again. When I'm done, I'm going to flip it inside out. So guys, now that I've done it, I'm going to cut off the excess fabric, and then the next thing I'm going to do is just take it this way and flip it inside out and iron it. So guys, this is it here. This is the back of my skirt. So at this point, what you have to do is the same way you added your cutout lining for the back, for the front, cutout lining for the back also. So I'm not going to use lining at the back of mine because I find lining very uncomfortable. So, but I'm going to tell you the right thing to do is cut out your lining for the back the same way you cut out for the front, right? So after that, you're going to put in your dart here. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my dart at the back. So I'm going to put in, so after putting in your lining, hold it down with pin, or just try to use a stitch to hold it down around, like a loose stitch, or you just pin it down so that it doesn't move around. After that, mark your dart on it and then just dart it this way. So I'm going to dart since I'm not using lining, I'm going to just move over to darting it now. So guys, I'm taking it that you've put your dart on your skirt now and it's on your lining, and then the next thing you're going to do is to take out the two center back of the skirt, right? So this is the center back. I've placed it on this. I've placed the skirt together. You see the two sides are here, the center is here. So you see this is the center back of my skirt. So what I'm going to do is to mark, you know how much zip you use. So all I'm going to do now is just to go ahead and close up the center back of the skirt. So the stitch has been made. I'm just going to try to iron it out. I've gone ahead and cut out the band I'm going to use for my skirt. So what I'm going to do here, how I cut this here is just, you see my front panel, I've gone ahead, ironed it, put in my darts, see my two darts here. So what, not really two darts, one dart and then one dart on this side, and then the second dart goes to the end to form the slit at the end of my skirt, right? So what I wanted to show you guys is how I'm going to put the band. So this is the band here. It's 3 inches of width. So how I got the 3 inches of width, how I got the length is just to place my fabric this way. My skirt, after finishing everything on the front panel, I just put it this way. So that's how I determined the length. The width here is 3 inches because I'm going to use half an inch to join to this skirt, and then the half an inch is going to be to join the top part of the top part of this dress to it. So that's why. And then as you can see, I have 2 pieces of this. You're supposed to go ahead and iron in that white stay on it so that you can give this fabric some strength. So you're supposed to go ahead and iron in the whiting on each of the surfaces here, the wrong side. And the same thing is how I did it for the back. I also went ahead, after putting in my back panel, the dart, I just took it to this cut out my band also. As you can see, I also have 2 pieces of this. So you're supposed to iron in the white stay, on it right now. I don't have it, so I'm just going to attach mine directly, but you're supposed to iron it in so that it can give the band some strength and it will look neat. So on this other side too, I also cut out, so I have 2 pieces for each side, and then another 2 pieces for the front side. And as you can see, the front is longer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start with the front panel. I'm just going to take it here, place it here, and then take 1 piece of this. I'm assuming by now you've ironed in your stay. Take 1 piece of this here and just sew it down all the way. So guys, this is what it looks like. So basically, I've gone ahead and put the band in front, put the band for the 2 sides of the back, and then closed up the side, right? But now the second band that is going to cover this up, I'm just going to join it together. So this is the center one. I'm going to take the one for the side, put it on one side, take the second one for the other side, put it on the other side, on this end here. So I'm going to just make 1 straight band now. Another thing you can do is, instead of closing it up now, you can just leave the 2 sides open. Leave the 2 sides open and just put the second band on it, right? Instead of, you can do it separately, because what I'm doing now is joining the sides together, and then I'm going to use this one here to cover it, and then close it up again. But if you want, you can just do your front separately, do the 2 back separately, and then make 1 stitch to close it. So what I'm going to do now is, before I put this top band here, I'm going to go ahead and get my top part of my the top pinafore part of this dress. I put it in between here. I'll put it in between here and then make a stitch on it. If you're going to do this, my method here, make sure that you've gone ahead and check and you're sure that this band here is exactly your waist. Like when you made your stitch on the inside here, that it's exactly your waist size, right? So you've measured it and you're sure, like you take your tape here, measure it, and you're sure that this is your measurement. Then you start closing it up. Because remember, once you put this in here and then cover it with this one, it will be hard for you to go back in and shape it, to take in any cloth if it's too big. Or if you want, you can use the second method, which is open this up and then just finish everything and then you now close it, which means you have a side seam out there. But if you want, you can use this method so you can hide the side seam. So what I'm going to do now is, I did that I marked here, I just drew it up. My second dart, I drew it up, and then I took, this is the front panel of my top, I just placed it in between here, and just to make sure that it's at the center, just place it in between here, and then take my band, right, that second band I have, remember you're going to also put in your stay on this here, and then you're going to use it, place it on top, right, you're going to pin it down. You're going to remember to put in the seams at the sides just the same way, and then you're going to pin it down. I'm going to pin this down here, and then I'm going to also move over to the back and place in the back also and pin it down. When I'm done, I'm going to just close up the whole end. So guys, I wanted to show you guys how I did this here. So you see, I pinned the center part here. I've showed you how to put in the center. Just put it right in between. The darts from the skirt will be your landmark for it. So I've put it in, and then for the back, remember the back also has a zip allowance. So from the end here, you're going to just, the zip allowance is going to be your landmark here. So make sure that the back part of this pinafore reaches the very end of the skirt, right? And then you sew it, then you just sew coming down this way. So you know that this end here, you see what it looks like here. So now I'm going to do the same thing on the other end. So I'm just going to sew all the way from the center, and then I'm going, when I'm getting to this end here, I'm going to take the end of this pinafore here, place it in, just so I will know that this is the end here. So because remember, the top also has the zip allowance at the center here, right? And the skirt also has the zip allowance. So the both zip allowances here will meet each other, and then I'm going to just close it up with this one and pin it down, with the top one and pin it down, and then continue my stitch all the way to the center. So guys, now that I've done it, I'm just going to move this down here and then cover the stitch on the inside, you see. So now we've put this pinafore, instead of just attaching it on top, we've put it inside, you see. Now it's inside of this here. is inside of this band. You see, is on the inside here. So the stitches are on the inside, because you can always just fold your fabric, wrap it around the skirt, and just sew it down as your band, and then just take this thing here and just attach it and make a stitch on it. If you want, you can do it that way, but it might not look neat. So this one here is a way of doing it, and it will still come out neat. So you see how it is now. So it's now sewn inside. If you open the inside here, you see that you can't even find the stitch for it. Same thing goes for the back. You can't find the stitch for it. So what we are going to do now is this top band. Remember what I said, don't forget to iron your stay, so that this thing here so that the band will have some thickness to it. So what you're going to do now is you're going to use this stay here now, and you're going to use this particular stay, this particular piece here, you're going to use it to now cover up this here. So how you're going to do it is, you see the way it is now, you're going to just fold the end here. If you can see what I'm doing, just fold this end here, fold the end here, just like the way you normally make your band for the skirt, for a pencil skirt. Is the only difference here is that you're putting something inside, like on top of it, you added this top here. So I'm just going to go ahead now and make a stitch all the way around. You see, so this is the one that is covering the band. This one now will cover all my stitches, and you see I made sure that this stitch that is attaching the skirt to the band is facing in, so that this one here is facing down, and I'll use this one now to cover it. So this one now here is going to cover both the stitches. So I'm going to just go ahead and top stitch it all the way around the skirt. So guys, as you can see, I've done mine. See what the inside looks like. You see how it is on the inside. So I use the second band to just cover all the stitches. All my stitches are now running inside of this, like in between this band. So the next thing we're going to do now is to do the bow tie. So my bow tie, I cut my fabric. So for my bow tie, this is the fabric here. I cut it 17 by 15 inches, right? So I'm just going to fold it into two, and then I'm going to just close up the end here. I'm going to close this end up to here. I'm going to leave about 3 inches in between. So guys, I've closed it up to here. Close this up. You're just going to fold it this way. Fold it this way, because it's a bow tie that we're trying to make, right? So you're going to fold it this way, and then you're going to close up the side with a straight line, and then after that, now you can flip it out. So I'm going to close up the two sides. From this space I left here, I'm going to flip this out. So guys, now you see that 2 or 3 inches I left is now hidden behind. So this is now the front of my bow tie. So guys, one thing you have to do is that the time the fabric is still open, that I was showing you 15 by 17 inches, you're supposed to iron in that same stay. You know, that same stay I was talking about for the band, you're supposed to put that same thing at that moment for your bow tie, so that you can give it some strength too. But remember, I don't have it, so I'm not using it. So I'm going to go ahead and iron this out, and then after that, you now start making your bow tie. So guys, as you can see, I've put in my zip also, but I just wanted to let you guys know, for this you might need about 24 inches zip or even longer, because you need the zip to come down all the way to your skirt. So the next thing, I've gone ahead and ironed my bow tie. Back to the bow tie, what I'm going to do now is just to move this in. I'm going to just move it in, like this is the front part, right? So you're just going to pinch it out and just keep pleating it this way. So just pleat the center, and then after that you have something like this. So now I'm going to just use my fabric that I've cut, that is just like this, about 4 inches of width, fold it this way, and then use it to run over this here. So I'm just going to use it to hold this. Just make sure you are at the center, so that one side will not be bigger. I think one side is bigger for me, so I'm just going to move it so that one side will be, both sides will be equal, and then you're going to use your needle and thread to hold this down. So guys, this is it here. I still have my knot, and I still have the tie, the needle with the thread. So what I'm going to do now is get my skirt, go down to where that's the line is. So I'm going to just put this bow. It depends on how, you know, I think I could have just used a different color for this, but I don't have, maybe black. What's black on this? I don't know. But just use, if you want to use a different color, anything you want to do. So now you still use this same needle and thread, come up maybe by 1 inch of 1 inch from that seam, sorry, 1 inch from this opening here, and then you're going to go ahead and sew this down on it. Tack this down, try to make it try to make the stitch strong. Just use that same needle and you still have the tie so that you can be able to knot it when you're done. So you're going to go in and sew it to the skirt. So guys, this is it here. I've gone ahead and sewed mine, and then I cut out my knot at the back. So you can just go ahead, use your needle and thread and just tack it down with one seam here, tack it down with one seam here. Or if you want it to just be lopsided like this, you can just go ahead and take this end and sew it down here, take this end and sew it down here, so it will now follow this here. Or except if you want it to just stand straight, you can just seam it here and then seam it here to the skirt, right? Just with maybe your needle and thread, just make one stitch to hold it and one stitch to hold it. Or you can do this one also if you want it to flop like following this opening. So the next thing you're going to do is just fold the end of your skirt, and that is basically it. So this is what mine looks like. So this is the back. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Bye.